Welcome back to Real Talk, everybody. As you can tell, guys, I am happy. I'm happy not because we just witnessed another fiery El Classico, and not because this might actually be a very good result in the long term, and we won. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to say it at the start this time. We won. We won the Classico. We beat Barcelona 2 goals to 1. But I'm happy because I was right. I was right on almost every front. And please go check out the previous episode where I talked about the preview. It's in the news episode. I was right because I clicked on so many levels. So I'll start by saying, first of all, we won again. I just love to say it. We finally won, guys. I'm actually not going to be one of those people who act like I'm now blind to everything that happened last season. My podcast started just when the season was in that turning point of the terrible four El Clasicos that we just had before. So I wouldn't act like I was blind to them. I'll be honest. I'll be fully honest. I remember. I will not forget because I do not want any Real Madrid fan to forget that it has been a year since we last won an El Clasico. We lost 4 times, 5 if you count that one in LA, but friendly El Clasicos, I don't really. Okay, no, I'll count them. So 5. We lost the last 5. And I was scared that we would make it 6 and we would have lost in 2 consecutive seasons. But we didn't. We won. We won the game. My points, my talking points is why I'm happy. My talking points were so valid. And now, you guys, I think you just have to subscribe. You have to follow the podcast. You have to like. You have to comment down below that I might be the GOAT. And I don't say this because, I just want to be high, but my points were right. But first of all, let's start with how the game actually unfolded. Because this match had drama from the first minute. Real Madrid, we won a penalty, and VAR overturned it. Now, my thoughts on that penalty, at first, when I looked at it, I thought it was a penalty. I said, okay, this is a penalty. I said, I wanted to like it, because, it's difficult because we're both Barcelona fans who say that it's not a penalty. Every decision a referee makes against us will be against that person. So it goes down. Vinicius goes down in the box against Lamine Yamal's challenge. I thought it was a penalty, but I'll be honest to you guys. I'll be here first. That was not a penalty because if you look at it, don't just look at the photos. Look at the video, build the scene. Vinicius kicks into Lamine Yamal's leg that goes up and on its way down, taps Vinicius on his foot, and that's how he drops. The penalty is overturned, but from there, we started to attack. And one thing I'll say is Barcelona, they didn't really show up. I'm not even hating, not even just about Lamine Yamal, which, by the way, we'll get to in a second, but they did not show up in this match. Mbappe had a goal, a beautiful banger goal. That one a little bit dicey. The offside rule on that one was checked, but I'll just allow everything that happened to allow. I don't want to fight with referees. I don't want to be the type to digress into referees too much because, at the end of the day, they're human. And I know they have the VAR system, but the VAR is just external cameras also being controlled by humans. It's not a robot system. So they will be bound for mistakes. Whether or not they're mistakes or not is just up to the fans and following the rules. But I won't talk about that. Then, we scored first. Real Madrid scored first. I was so happy that we scored first because I wanted us to score first. Beautiful. Bellingham gets the ball. Lovely skill on Pedri. Lovely skill. Gets round him. Sends the pass in. Mbappe is there. This time onside. Tracking himself. Gets it in. Shoots it right. Bounces off Chesney's leg and enters the net. 1-0 Real Madrid. And the game went on and we continued to put that pressure on them. We kept on attacking. This was a very clear signal of our attacking intent in this game. We set out saying we need the goals because genuinely I feel after watching all those 4 Clásicos last season, the biggest takeaway for Xavi Alonso is this team needs to become goal hungry. We need to become very, very hungry for goals because that is the only way I believe we'll beat Barcelona. I believe we'll have a great season and I believe we can even win the Champions League. We need to have what Hansi Flick gave these guys last season, which is that hunger and that passion for goals, outscoring your opponent. But this is where the problem takes in. We're passing behind. We keep moving the ball here and there. It's moving around. It reaches out to Guler. I don't know why that happened. He had a moment of madness. That's all I can call it. It's a moment of madness. He starts to shield the ball. He starts to guard the ball, actually, not the box. He starts to shield the ball outside of his own box. It's just right outside the box. He's shielding it. He's guarding it. There was no pressure on him, but then he starts to absorb the ball, so he draws out the pressure. and then they start pressing him, and Pedri nicks it off him. He can't even run back for it. Pass reaches Rashford, and Rashford, who I said would be a key factor in that previous episode, gives it. Rashford gives it to the guy who scored, which I want everyone to take just 2 seconds of silence. I'm going to take it to 2 seconds of silence to appreciate my analysis. Rashford gives the ball into the box and Fermin Lopez scores. I said it last time. I said these are the dark horses in the previous episode, the preview. I said these are the two people who I would fear in this match because they're fresh blood. Rashford because he's fresh blood. Luckily, that was the end of him. I'm not even hating. That was just the end of his fear factor in that game. Fermin Lopez, because I said it, he loves to score against us. This guy avidly scores in these Classicos he plays in. He scored in the last one before this in La Liga. It's just that he was ruled for that handball and they removed it, but he did score, and a banger at that, and he scored again, and I started to have a little bit of fear. In my heart, I started to believe this could be the turning point. This could be that thing that makes them score the second goal that leads into the third goal that leads into maybe us scoring third too, and then we end up losing the game. But one thing I was happy about is Barcelona, they really, really, really did not come to play here. I don't know what was up with their team in that first half. My best analysis is, I don't know, I might be a conspiracy theorist on this one, but my analysis is the players were also not happy with Lamine Yamal's comments. They were not happy with the way he was doing. They were not happy with the things he's been doing, because if you watch that game, you realize, you see it, that there are times where they were playing less with him. They didn't want to give him the ball. They didn't want to see him shine. And that's part of the factor that I'll get into, him not having the best of games. Then, the difference maker comes in. Vinicius Jr. steps up. Beautifully, takes it on the wing. Cuts in through. Goes past Koundé, who, by the way, he had an amazing game against. Vinicius Jr. today had an amazing game against Koundé. Koundé was off his mark. I can't even say, I can't just explain how bad Koundé played. I'm not even trying to hate, but I've seen Koundé at his best. I feared that duo because he always gets his number most of the time. But this time, Koundé, I don't know if he's tired. I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he needs a break. He was off his mark, and Vinicius Jr. was there to take advantage of him. Vinicius Jr. cuts it out, gives the cross. Cross goes across everybody. Militao heads it back in. And then who else is there to make it 2-1 for us, to give us that goal, to make it very, very cardinal and give us the lead that we took to the end of the game? Jude Bellingham. Bellingham finishes before the break. This was a huge psychological blow for Barcelona because after that, they started to look tired. Then the second half came in. In the second half, it was a bit of passing around. There was a lot of transition going on here. The game was flowing. The game was fluid on both sides. But Barcelona, after our penalty, which Mbappe missed, which, by the way, I see that it does touch his hand. I can play devil's advocate on both sides with that one. Initially, I thought this shouldn't be given, but after review, it can be seen as Eric Garcia's hand going a bit too high and then touching the ball. But it's a 50-50. It goes to us. It's fortunate for us, but you know how this game is. It's going to be given a paying job of the wrong message. But then Kylian Mbappe misses the penalty. Beautiful save from Szczesny. For me, that was the turning point. Because from that point on, and I said it, I wrote it down in my notes also. From that point on, the game really, really stopped being about us attacking. The game turned into this Madrid just trying to hold it. We were just trying to hold it. And then we removed Arda Güler. And then the thing now that I need to talk about, Xabi Alonso subbed out Vinicius Jr. in the 72nd minute. Vinicius Jr. was pissed. I personally was also upset. I didn't see the reason. I didn't see the vision. Because Vinicius Jr. was finally, for me, I can say finally having, maybe apart from that 10.0 which I talked about in the Villarreal game, it should have been Villarreal, he finally had a performance that was good. He was flowing. He was having a groove. He would look like the most, most probable player to give us the next goal. But he's got subs now for Rodrigo. And then Vinicius Jr., he crashes out. And I fully agree with him being upset. It's very valid. It's just like Rafinha and Xavi's earlier seasons when there was still Dembele at Barcelona. Rafinha used to be upset. He used to get so pissed off when Xavi would sub him off. Because when you're playing well, you don't want to be subbed off. But what I don't agree with is the reaction. I know you're upset. I know it's touching. I know you're wondering, in his mind and in my mind, I thought he would never do this to Mbappe. He'd never do this to Bellingham. And it's just the truth of the situation. He would never remove Mbappe. But then he removes you. It looks like you were chosen, like you're the one who's being picked. But then he walks into the tunnel. He goes into the dressing room. I did not agree with that. That's not what you can. You do not have to be doing these things. We're having a good game. Things are going great for us. We're holding down the pressure. We might win the El Clasico. These are not the external politics to get yourself involved in. Just go on the bench. Maybe you can kick a chair or two. No one will be upset. We understand you being upset by being subbed out. But you go on the bench, kick a chair or two, maybe pout and just frown. Think about Rodrigo. He wasn't getting playtime. You don't think about him. How was he feeling? It makes it look like you're also upset that he's coming to play on now. So you don't think about these things. I don't want Vinicius Jr. to get too digress into the politics of a game in the sense of you always want to make the wrong headlines. But I didn't agree with the decision, but I also don't agree with the reaction of the player. So that was my thoughts on that one. The game went on, and as this game went on, when I saw those two subs happen, I said it's over for us. This is like over in the sense of our goals. I think we're now gonna have a consolation goal if we're lucky, but that's just what it happened. They kept on just attacking and attacking. Barcelona were attacking around, and we were playing a very good low block. We just kept defending. We just kept getting it off. We just kept getting the ball off their players, and eventually, as a match should, it ends. But there was an interesting before it ended. Pedri had a red card. He got sent off in that game. The red card, I would say, is a 50-50 again. I can see where the ref was coming from in the sense his back leg off that tackle does connect with Aurelien Chouameni's leg, but it's a bit of a harsh one to give. But he gave him a second yellow. So he had that first yellow when he was pulling Vinicius' shirt in the first half, and this was the second yellow. So Pedri gets sent off, game gets ended, and then it digresses into absolute madness. But before I go into that, Lamine Yamal, I just have to take a quick moment to say, I'm not even going to here to troll him. I'm not here to mock him. I'm not here to say anything. Because my mind and my thoughts before this, I said it. I just said, we have to win because we cannot let him do what he's doing and then beat us. So I'm personally just looking at this on on-field thing. I know some people love to go outside of it and say, no, he should just stop. He's a player of Instagram. No, let's not act like he wasn't doing what he was doing to us last season. That's the truth. We just have to keep it. I said I'm not going to be one of those people who act like those past four Classicos are now just gone in the dust. They're in the past. So if you're bringing them up as a Barcelona fan, you know what you're doing, but we also know what we would be doing by acting like they didn't exist. That's why I want to focus on now without forgetting what happened then. Because then was that he dominated us. He beat us. He had the reasons to act like he could do it again. Because it's not like he had a bad track record to follow. If that Lamine Yamal from 2023 was posting this and saying this after not doing anything and then drops a stinker, you can fully and utterly just insult him. You can say that. But then this is what I talked about. Another prediction sort of thing I said in the previous episode that came to fruit. I said if he has a bad game, if he does this, he's getting into the politics, he will become a player where the social media would turn on him in a very toxic way. It would turn on him and make him feel this sort of way. And I don't know if I can control if he'll stop because I don't want him to stop. Because I wouldn't want to silence anyone. But I do feel like you have to be willing to back it up. You have to be willing. You have to be able to back it up on the field. But if you talk like the way he talked, if you post the things he posted, if you say the things he said, which will always be taken out of context, and you drop a game like that, he had a 6.7 match rating on Flashscore. I think it was a 6.5 on FootMob, which is a very valid rating. He was quiet. He did not play. And I can tell that not just us, but even his teammates. I'll say this again. I felt it. I don't know if you guys could feel it, but I personally did feel it. There were times where his teammates also were not happy. They were not happy. His coach, his teammates, they're not happy with the things he's saying. They're willing to go to hell and back and fight for him, but they're not happy with some of the things he does. And then Carvajal, what was that? I'm not going to go away from that. I'm not going to divert out of that because for me, that was not valid. That was very silly. When I heard beforehand that he was going to talk to him after the game, I already didn't agree with that decision. I said, what do you mean after the game? Because if they won, he would be too clouded in the victory and everything for you to have talked to him sensibly. And if you won, it would look like you're trying to lowbrow him because you won. So either way, there was never going to be a valid way of this conversation going. And that's what happened. And the game digressed into the madness. I'll get back to that. Vinicius Jr. had his part to play. They were fighting. Him and Jamal got into an altercation. Rafinha entered, tried to disassociate them. Also entered the scrap a little bit. But this is just El Clasico. I have no problem with that. At the end of the day, as long as it's not something that anyone got physically hurt, anyone actually hurt anyone. I love when this part, unlike Lamine Yamal, it's all talk. I love when it's all talk. Because it's just a classical. And for me, it's at the heart of it. I'm not one to love, I feel like I love violence, but when it's a classical, in the previous years, I talked about it like this game is sort of dying, but these are the things that brings it back. The hatred between the two, the warriors clashing, the passion. But Now to sum it up, I feel like this game for us was a good game. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Some of my star players, of course, is Vinicius Jr. because for me, it's the improvement. It's not even that he didn't even score. By the way, he didn't score. He didn't even have any direct assists, but he was so impactful in the play. He was absorbing the pressure. He was skilling Kunde. He was doing amazing in this game. Kylian Mbappe, that attacking. I said it. I watched people from Barcelona and ESPN and everyone and Faizo say it. They said Mbappe would be a cardinal player in this game, and I'm happy he did. He's starting to have a very crazy El Clasico pedigree, which should be seen as very fearful because I love that these are the types of games, just like Atletico, even though we might have lost that one. I love that in big games now, I'm almost certified he wants to and he's going to score. For me, that was a big takeaway point that maybe some people might not look at. They might just see it as Mbappe scored, yeah, it's expected. For me, I love that it's expected because coming last season, he was a little bit shaky. He found his fitting later on, but in the big games, he was a little bit shaky. Apart from the Classicos where he did eventually start to score, but like games like Arsenal, he dropped a stinker. He dropped an absolute stinker across both legs, didn't score. But now I know for a fact in a Champions League game, like a big game, like the one coming up against Liverpool, I love that. I feel that confidence of I believe he's going to score against Liverpool. If the opportunity is given, I believe Kylian Mbappe is going to find the net. The third player I want to talk about who had a good game, but first I'll say the defense as a whole had a good game. Valverde had another defensive masterclass. I said that if Baude and Rashford do not, are not cohesive that well, they'll give Valverde a field day. And he had a field day because Rashford, for me, after that, he was quiet. He did not have too much action. I did not see him do too much. I did not see him spring up anything new on us. Valverde had a good game at right back. I love him as right back. But these are the things why I said I don't want him as right back because he also had a little bit of an injury. And I pray for the best for him. I hope that he's doing his best. I hope that he's okay. The defenders, Dean Huijsen, Militao, man, I have to give him his props. That was beautiful performance. This guy come back from two ACLs and playing like this should be illegal. It should be criminal. Maybe he should even be tested for doping. Because what was that? What has he been doing since he came back? He's just been having good games for me. Dean Huijsen, another solid game. Didn't have too much to do because, Ferran Torres wasn't his most lively today and Lewandowski wasn't there, so he didn't have too much to do. But for what he had to do, he did well because we still kept that defensive acumen and they didn't score any direct play goals this game. So defenders all round. Alvaro Carreras, Lamine Yamal made it easy for you. Didn't have the best of games. His teammates didn't, play too well with him. Him and Kunde's attacking cohesion really didn't mash up well for me today. So you didn't have much to do, but you still had a good game. I still can't take that away from you. You had a very good game. The midfield, for me, Artigula, you had a good game. You lost your head a little bit there, but I love that he just stayed quiet. I hate that he stayed quiet, but I love that he stayed quiet because he didn't do anything wrong after that. He just continued playing his game until he got subbed off. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, those two. I want you guys to remember in 2022 how well they played, in 2023 how well they played, and people started to doubt them. People started to say these guys have lost their aura. Camavinga has lost his aura. This was them at their peak. Tchouaméni, for the big part of last season, was playing center back, so we couldn't see his defensive acumen. But when he stepped into that CDM role, he was making last ditch efforts. He was making crucial tackles, decisive tackles, clean tackles. I don't think he's the one who got the yellow card. I think it was Camavinga who got a yellow card. He had a very good game, an excellent game. For me, I give him 2 thumbs up. Camavinga, 2 thumbs up. Our attack, I've talked about them. That front three, beautiful work they did today. Jude Bellingham also, beautiful. Jude. That was the third player I was going to get to, the attacking player. Once again, he missed them last season. Last season, he wasn't in his best role. He wasn't playing that attacking role. We used to find that cohesion, but he started finding it again. And I can say it, we're back. We're back to the ways of last season, the other season, where we have a Classico, and the winning goal was scored by none other than Mr. Jude Victor William Bellingham. He scored the winning goal. Beautiful little confident step celebration showing that he's the original Lamine Yamal. He's the original cocky guy of a Classico. And I'll be honest, he's really cocky. I'm not even going to shy away from it. That's why I'm not one of the people who say Lamine Yamal has to be humble. Because we don't have humble players. I'm not even going to... Vinicius Jr. is a hothead who's also cocky. Bellingham is a hothead who's cocky. But I love these players because I love when they back it up. That's what I just want from Lamine Yamal. But if he wants to keep doing this in a Classico, I'm not gonna be upset with this one. But yes, all round Beautiful game. Thibaut Courtois. Another point in the previous episode I made that came true. I said we need that prime Thibaut Courtois. Even though Barcelona's attack really didn't send a lot his way, he did what was necessary. He did the downwork and we got those 3 points. This helps us big because in the league now, we're 5 points ahead of Barcelona going forward, which is a very good point. I hope we can hold this, and it can be crucial that them losing this should be crucial in the long run of the season. Just like in the Premier League, Liverpool dropped points again, City dropped points, Arsenal won. It's early doors, but this will show to be crucial in the long run, that they shouldn't have just lost these games if Arsenal and Madrid hold strong. So for me, this was a good result. This was a good game. I didn't want to take too much time. This is just a quick one. I did my reviews of this. I'm still so happy about this. I'm so happy we finally won. I'm so happy we got this game. We needed the revenge and we got it. I love that the team certified me. I'm having more trust in Xavi Alonso. He's won his first El Clasico. Hopefully these are things for the future. In the return leg, I can't speak for now. Barcelona had injuries. I can't shy away from that fact. We had injuries too, but they had injuries. They had no Rafinha, they had no Lewandowski. So I can't speak for the future game. If everyone is fit, I'll do my preview when I see how they play from there on. But for now, we're working with what we have, and what we had was the team they had, the team we had. They didn't play their best. We didn't play our best, but we played very well. We held it down, kept that 2-1. Second half was a very quiet game goal-wise. I did say that I see it being a 2-goal margin, but I did say I see us winning 3-1 or 3-2. So I did see it being a bit of a more tight-ended game. I just expected more goals, but I'm happy that this was the win we got. We got the 3 points. Would I have loved to see our team, smash them and completely, outscore them? Of course, I'm a fan. I hate them. I want to see that. But I'm happy that we just got the 3 points because that was what was needed. We look to the future. We look to our next big game in the Champions League. Like I said in the preview, Liverpool. I'll make the preview about that. I'll talk about that. November is coming up. Big games ahead. Big things ahead. Coming into next year, we got some more games. We got to hold tight. But for now, this was a good sign. This was a good game. This was fun. It was just fun to watch. Just go watch the game again. We finally won. And this is like 2 days after the game. Hopefully, Lamine Yamal and Vinicius Jr. didn't meet outside. I hope they both safe. I hope they got home safe. I'm just trolling, guys. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. For those of you on Spotify, Apple Podcast, thanks for watching. For those of you on YouTube, this was Real Talk. Peace.